YouTube, we back with another tutorial, and today we're going to do a nice and clean mid fade. We're going to keep it simple, and we're going to use the 4-step framework to get it done. So the first step is always prepping the canvas, combing through the hair, getting it ready to execute. And it wasn't much since he's doing an undercut. We pretty much just had to comb through, and we're going to wipe down the edge areas with a nice sea breeze or alcohol, whichever one you prefer to use. And all this does is get rid of any oil so that lineup can be much sharper when it's time to do that. So now we're prepping our fade area with the 1.5. And I like to do this on anybody who has really like an undercut, because I don't want the top of that fade to be too light to where it just looks like braids and then skin. If you know what I mean, kind of like Brandon Marshall off I Am Athlete. If you look at his haircut, it's kind of just dreads and then skin, and it's not really much transition. Not to talk about anyone, but I think that's how he likes his haircut to be. But I like to do it where it's a nice gradients from that top darkness into the fade. So I'm just going around the whole head right now and setting up that perimeter to be faded into. And I still consider this just part of my prep work, just because I'm not really executing my fade yet. I'm just getting it ready for we could come through and we have something to fade into. So I do this around the whole head. And usually what I'll do in real time in the shop, I'll just do my cut or I'll do my fade all the way through. But for the YouTube tutorials and whatnot, I like to just show you guys one side specifically. So even though right now I'm just prepping all the way through, I'm still going to mainly show you how I do the fade on the side, and I'll also show you guys the back as well. So as all I'm doing here is just 1.5 guard fully closed against the grain. And sometimes I'm smoothing it with the grain just if I see any bulk still. And now we're moving on to the lever all the way open. And this is because we won't have to fight a harsh bald line if we were to punch that line in with a sharp trimmer or something like that. So I use the same clipper I'm fading, and now I have it fully closed, coming to that bottom of that panel. And as if this was my first step, when I put that ball, when I have the lever closed, I'm already flicking halfway to that panel as if it was already an initial line there, but it really wasn't. So then I'll open it up halfway and I'll just fade up into the top of that guideline we put with the lever open, making sure I'm not going exactly to it, but I'm just from halfway point flicking up into that point, if you know what I'm saying, because I don't want that top part to actually be the halfway lever. I want it to still be the full lever up top so it can blend simply to our half guard. And now this is, even I'll admit, this part was kind of redundant because I already went through, but I just want to make sure. I actually think that top darkness is a little bit thicker than my liking. So I'm going to still come back with the half guard fully open just to clean that up some. And just as a point of reference, you can always take more hair away, but you can never add more hair down. So it's always add more hair back, So it's always good to at least start with a higher guard. And if you don't like how it appears, then you can go with a lower guard to just keep slowly but surely knocking it down a little bit. So now we're halfway fully open, and we're going up a decent amount because, like I said, I think it was still kind of bulky up top. I still feel like we could have gradients with a lower length. So I'm still going up pretty high and just stretching out that fade. And you see what I mean? Now I'm just going back with the grain to smooth it down even lower. And I'm using my angles and corners to be safe, because when you're using angles and corners, you're actually cutting a little bit of less hair. That's why we place our guidelines in with the lever, with the clipper fully flat to the head. And then you'll notice when we're fading out, we're angling and we're using our front few teeth. So right now I have the lever halfway, and Next, it'll be closed after I do this, but notice how since I have the lever halfway, I'm going up a little lower than I did when I was fully open. And then when we close it up, we'll go a little bit even lower. So it actually looks like I do have the lever fully closed right now, but I'm still always gradually working my way down into that fade. And if it's any lines left that I see, I will just take the lever fully open. So I'll take off that half guard and I'll corner it and use angles to get any dark spots out that way. And you'll see what I mean right here. So I think this is a good angle so you can see how my blade is not flat at all. I'm using the corner just to breeze past any darkness that I might see. And I'm sorry for this camera angle right here because my hand is in the way. Right here, I just threw back on that 1.5 guard again just to see if it was any darkness. So like I said, being safe, just gradually working these areas down. I'm going to do the exact same thing in the back. So I'll go ahead and shut up. One thing I do want to point out right here, notice how even when I'm fading, I'm working off the shape of the head. I'm not following his head shape with the round at the top. So if I was to place a comb on the back of his head, that comb wouldn't round with the head. It would just go straight off the occipital bone. So I'm doing the same thing even when I'm fading. I'm still going straight up and it's naturally creating gradients because his head is rounded. So even when I go straight up, just picture it in your mind. So even though his head rounds at the top, when I go straight up and down, I'm still creating gradients naturally. I know it's hard to picture without a visual, but just close your eyes and just try to visualize that. And now after we execute our fade, we're just cleaning up that bottom hair that we didn't have to fight if we would have placed a harsh bald line in there. I'm telling you, doing this method, especially as a beginner, will save you so much time off your fade. So moving into the lineup, I like to start in the middle and I just like to walk that line to the corner. And I want to make sure I'm not going too far to where I'm pushing back that vertical bar. But I'm taking my time and I'm literally just walking the clipper. Watch how I tap and I literally walk the clipper to the way I want to go. And the trimmer is a straight line. So you don't have to struggle trying to make a straight line. Literally place that, place that trimmer exactly where you tap that first line and just work your way off of it. Walk it back and forth so you keep that line balance. And here you can kind of see where that vertical bar wants to go. That's why I always advocate trying to keep it natural, because this is just a returning client whose hair grew back the right way because I didn't dig in too much. And on them vertical bars, make sure you always angle it in a little bit, because this way when the client looks straight and you look straight at them, it doesn't look like it's the line up, the vertical bar is flared out, or it looks out of whack. Since the head is round, when you use angles on straight lines, like these lines appear to be straight, but they're not actually straight because the head is round. So I always angle in those vertical bars just a little bit so they appear straight. And we will be enhancing this client because you can see how his corners are kind of light. And right here, I'm just using the comb method to look at where that comb lies on the line, on the eyebrow or the end of the eyelid, so I can match that up to the other side. And you can see how I'm going just enough to make a sharp corner here. And then I'm going with my same reference from the other side. So what I just did is the pencil trick. I have the pencil on my hand and I just tap my trimmer on there just to give me a nice little pop where I can notice it, but also where it's not just too much. And make sure when you see me doing this, I'm looking at my mirror. Make sure you use your mirror, because this will make sure that you're getting that symmetry that you're looking for. Sometimes our eyeballs can play with us if we just stare at the canvas for too long. So make sure that you're using that mirror. And right here, I like to use a white card so I can let you guys see how much enhancement I'm using. You can see that it's not crazy. All I'm doing is darkening up those lighter spots so everything seems blended as one. And that's looking super boxy right now. And I ain't even enhanced the other side. So remember how I told you guys, always miss the enhancements past the outer edge. You don't only want to focus on that outer edge so it looks super dark at that line. You want to miss past that outer edge. And all we're going to do is lock that in with some holding spray. And once we do that, it's going to allow us to come back through with our trimmer and our razor to make sure everything is super sharp. So we're just bringing it all together. And this is actually part of our detail part. This is phase 4. So first we prepped the client. Then we faded the client, which was phase 2. Then we lined up the client, phase 3, and now we're just doing the little detail work that's just going to set it all the way over the top, which is the detail phase, phase 4. So after we do this, we'll hit my guy with a razor, and then we'll come through the fade, just looking for any dark spots, any spots that's just sticking out, that's not looking super gradient, and we'll use our corners to bring it all together. And so when I use the razor, I'm making sure I stretch the skin, and I'm angling my razor at a 30-degree angle. So I'm trying best not to nick the client. And so now in our detail phase, once we have systems, it's really not too much to detail at all, because we just followed the playbook down to a T. It's just like practice when your coach have you run through a play or a drill 1,000,000 times. So now when it's game time, it's just time to execute. You don't got to overthink. You don't got to guess where certain factors or certain people need to be at. Now it's just time to execute. We know that we have our 4-step framework. So no matter if somebody comes in, they want to taper, they want to fade, they want to drop fade, they want to burst taper, they want to whatever they want, a mohawk, whatever they want. You know that the 4-step framework will get you through it. because you know exactly what you need to do to execute and get that client. The canvas is the haircut. Get that client a nice haircut efficiently, and you didn't have to overthink and stress yourself out. So if that's something that you're looking for, I like to make tutorials that's based off efficiency, based off simplicity, so you can always use them as a baseline. You can always revert back to them instead of having to guess, instead of having to overthink and overcomplicate when you get different haircuts or different clients in your chair. So definitely hit that subscribe button and be looking forward to new tutorials dropping every Sunday. Leave a comment down below if this video helped you out, and I'll be sure to catch you guys in the next one. I appreciate it.